Hey friends! Okay, so I'm gonna walk you guys through how I do my entire face with one compact. I have all my creams up here, all of my powders down here. I'm going to use 4 different brushes. I will go through what these brushes are, how I use them, which ones I would recommend. And then I'm also gonna be using our Perfector sponge, which is just a beauty sponge, and our Stay Spray. Okay, so first and foremost, we wanna make sure that our skin is prepped and clear. So my skin is completely clean, there's nothing on it. I did put on a moisturizing moisturizer this morning, so that has had time to completely dry. The key is you always wanna make sure you give your moisturizer 5 to 15 minutes to dry. It just depends on the oiliness of your skin. You never want to put makeup directly on top of lotion, especially this cream-based makeup, because we want this makeup to be able to just melt right into our skin. We don't want it to be like seeping into the lotion itself. Make sense? If you have an oilier skin, I would recommend making sure you give yourself at least 15 minutes for that lotion to dry before you apply the makeup. Okay, so I'm just gonna start with our damp Perfector sponge. And all that means is I took the Perfector sponge or any beauty sponge that you're using, ours is amazing. I ran it under my faucet, I squeezed out all the extra water, and then I normally take just like a rag and I go like this to it just to make sure I get all of that water off. So it's damp, it's not dripping at all. I'm gonna take our Stay Spray, highly recommend. I'm going to spray it directly onto the Perfector sponge, and I'm gonna blot this all over my face. This is acting like a primer, so I don't have to put anything else on my skin before I apply the makeup. It's gonna help it stick really well. It's gonna help it go on evenly, and then it's gonna help it stay all day, which is why it's called Stay Spray. Okay, so my skin is prepped. I'm gonna give that just a couple of minutes to dry. Now I'm going to take my base color. So this is the color that, remember, I will color match you to this. So you don't have to worry about picking these colors, any of these colors out yourself. This compact is completely specified to me and my skin and my color choices. I will either have given you your choices already, or I will be giving you your choices, so you don't have to figure out which ones you have to use. I will tell you that. So I'm gonna start with my all over color, and I'm gonna be using our blush and bronzer brush. If you're looking for one brush to start with, this one, you can basically apply and blend your entire face with this, and then I'll give you the rest of the brushes that I'm gonna use that you can either grab now if it's within the budget, or add it to your wish list for later. So all I'm gonna do is I'm going to very lightly tap the smaller side. There's a puffier side and a more dense side. I'm going to be tapping like so, right into my main color. And you don't want to drag the brush in. I mean, if you guys can see, there's barely any makeup on here. And I'm just going to apply this all over. The key with this makeup is it's cream. It's a wax-based makeup, so you don't need it a lot. If you are using too much, you will know, because it will feel tacky, it will feel sticky. You're going to feel like your skin is, tacky is probably the best word. So I'm just going to add this where I need some basically like color correcting, which for me, I've got some pretty bad melasma. I get really dark circles underneath my eyes, so I'll be using my lighter color for that. I get like a little freckle mustache under here, so we're gonna even all that out. I've got some friends that have popped up because it's that time of the month. Thank you very much. I also have really red pigmentation on my eyelids, just from veining. And so I'm also gonna use my main color. We call these highlights. Think of it as like your foundation. So you're basically gonna be using 2 different foundation colors. Notice how I've left underneath my eyes here, a little bit on my nose, and up here on my forehead. I've left all of those because the idea is we're only gonna be putting one color per spot on our face, so our face is not drenched with makeup. And then I like to always run everything down my neck so it blends well, even though these colors will over the next couple of minutes, this color will just absorb into my skin because it is a wax base. So the heat from my skin is going to melt it into my skin beautifully, and it's going to look and feel like a second skin. Okay, so that is my main highlight. Now I'm going to take my lighter highlight. Again, I will let you know what color to use, or I've already told you. I'm going to take that exact same brush. I'm just tapping it in, tap, tap, tap. I sometimes like to squinch my brush up to make sure I'm not getting any extra colors on it, just a little tip. And then I'm going to use this underneath my eyes here in a little bit of a triangle under my eyes and down my nose. We're gonna take out all of those mom bags, and I'm gonna use it a little bit up here just to brighten as well. Like so. So you guys can see I've just kind of drug it across, so I'm gonna blend it in. I actually like to blend underneath my eyes with my perfector sponge. I'm gonna take it down the middle of my nose, and I'm also gonna do a little bit on the middle of my forehead. I'm gonna do the other side, tap, 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 tap. This product, if you want to add more, if you feel like, oh shoot, like I didn't have enough, it's always, always, always better to go in. I think I didn't do this eye very well. It's always better to go in with a very light hand. I'm gonna just take this and I'm gonna dab. And then go back and add more color or coverage later as you need it. So the highlighters that I'm using right now, the highlights, this is gonna add coverage. Okay, so this is what is going to color up the melasma on my skin, the discoloration, the red pigmentation from the veining, the zits, all of that fun stuff. Sometimes if my red zits are really, really harsh, I'll use the second color and just kind of dab it in just to help get some extra coverage there. Okay, now my highlight is just covering. Next, we're gonna go in with some contour to add some dimension. Now, if you're like me, when somebody said contour, I would have been like, what the heck are you talking about? Oh, another tip, this puffy side of the brush can also be used for blending. So if you're somebody who likes it to look a little bit more, if when you're using this side of your brush, you feel like it's not blending in well, or you don't have the perfector sponge, you can go in with the puffy side of this and blend that all in. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is take our 30-second hack brush. It has a dense flat side here, which is used to add your contour, and a puffy side here, smaller, which is what I'm gonna use for my nose. Next, I'm gonna go in with my contour color. Again, I'm dabbing this in, dab, 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 dab. So what I was saying is I was one when somebody said contour, like I kind of went like, meh, I don't know how to do that. That's confusing to me. Like I'm not a makeup artist, but I'm telling you, if I can do this, anybody can do this. So all I'm gonna do is I kind of go like, make a funny face. I go like this to show the line. Can you see it? The line underneath my cheekbone. And I've got the product on here, and I'm just gonna run it like that. Some of you guys might like to go a little more intense with your contour. Some of you might need to like to go a little bit lighter. Again, this is all buildable. So better to start light and then add more if you feel like you need it. I'm just going right underneath that cheek line. So my cheekbone is right here. I'm going right underneath that. Don't worry, looks cray. We are going to blend it in. Your contour is going to add shape to your face. I have a post in our group already about this. But contour isn't really for coloring. I also like to do a little bit on my hairline up here. Tiny little bit. Remember, I didn't put any highlight here and I didn't put any highlight here. And then if you like, optional, I like to run a tiny bit underneath my jawline. I feel like this really just helps to define my jawline. I've done all that with this flat side. Now I'm gonna take this puffy side, same exact color, and I'm gonna do a tiny bit of contouring on my nose. And all I'm gonna do is, if you can see the natural line of my nose here, I'm going to highlight that. It's going to make my nose appear smaller and more defined. So I'm just gonna take this. My elbow is staying stationary. I kind of like tuck it in on my side here, and all I'm gonna be doing is going up and down with my fingers like such. So once I get my line, and then I'm going to blend that up into my eyebrows. And I'm gonna come and do the same thing over here. I'm gonna get my arm nice and set. This can take some playing around with. It took me a while to get used to doing my nose contour. And now that I've got it, I love it. And then I normally will do, I'll squinch my brush like this. I'll do a little on the tip of my nose. And I'll line just under my lips, all optional. The main contouring you want to do is here, here, and here over your forehead. Okay, now this looks crazy town, as you can see. But I'm going to go back in now with the puffy side of this blush and bronzer brush, which is a mouthful. And I'm going to use that puffy side to dab this all in, and I'm going to just push this into my skin. I still want there to be a little bit of that line because that's what's going to help my face keep its shape. So I'm just going to press this in and up. We always want everything like basically in and back, right? We don't want like the face sagging this way. We want everything to go this way. So I'm just going to go in and up, and I'm just lightly dabbing that color in. And after I apply this, if I'm like, shoot, I think I blended in a little too much, or I would like a little bit more color, you just go right in and you add some more. But always best to start with less and add more as you need it. And do you see how I'm just pushing this in? Nothing crazy. Do you see how this is like already giving my face so much shape? Under my chin, I typically like to just circle it in. See how easy it's blending in though? I went a little heavy right here, which is fine. I want that to blend up. There we go. In and up, in and up. And here. Perfect. And now we're gonna do my nose. Do you guys see how much shape that's just giving my face? I love it. Now I'm gonna do my nose, and same. I'm just gonna tap this in. Again, you can I sometimes go like this and squinch that brush up. And I'm just like, I'm just tapping it. It's like my sound effects. Super professional. I'm just tapping it in and up. In and up. Again, you guys, I know this sounds funny coming from the lady who's selling you guys makeup, but I am not a makeup artist. If I can do this, anybody can do this, which is why I love this stuff so much. Plus, I'm obsessed with how clean it is, so I'm not adding anything harsh or harmful to my skin. Voila, so our contour is done. Okay, I'm gonna add a tiny bit of color now back into my face. My highlights cover, my contour shapes, and my blush and or bronzer, completely up to you, are going to add coloring back into my face. So I've got my lip and cheek color. All of the lip and cheeks can be worn on. Lips and cheeks. Wait, backwards, lips and cheeks. So I'm going to take the dense side of my blush and bronzer brush. I'm gonna just dab a little in, right on my cheekbones for my blush. Again, I will give you recommendations for this. Now I'm gonna take that puffy side, and I'm just gonna dab that in. So I'm just adding a little bit of color into my face. I like a nice, subtle, almost like a little bit pinkier blush, but we have like tons and tons of options. Now, if you guys are into bronzer, this is a completely optional step for some people. We have a, oh, I cannot open this with one hand right now. What I'm gonna show you guys is our cream bronzer, which is called Bella. That is a tongue twister, which goes on basically like the rest of the makeup. It goes on like a cream. So you kind of add it in those little sections that you want some coloring on. But we also have a powdered, that's the word I was looking for. We also have a powdered bronzer, if that is your jam. I have both, really, really like both. What I love about Bella is it blends beautifully, which is the cream bronzer, blends beautifully in with the rest of the makeup. And what this cream makeup does is it gives your face this just like natural glow to it. And so I try to use as much of the cream makeup as I can, which was a huge adjustment for me because I'd never used cream makeup before I used this stuff. Okay, so I've got a little bit of color into my face now. Oh, and I normally take Bella down my neck a little bit as well, just again to make sure we've got a nice cohesive look here. Okay, now this step is really, really fun, and I'm just gonna use my finger for this. This is my illuminator, and this is gonna go on the tops of my cheekbones. This is just like a really fun step that I feel like takes your makeup from looking like, I don't know, basic to just like elevating it and bringing it into a more current vibe, which is a little bit more glowy, a little bit more. I'm gonna do a little bit down my nose here and blend it in. A little bit on my Cupid's bow. Anywhere I want just like a little extra shine. Can you guys see that? Love. And your illuminators will last literally forever because you're barely using any of them. Your highlights are probably going to get the most use out of them. Everything else will last you forever. Okay. Now, my creams are done. Oh, you know what? I want to put a little bit of that lip and cheek on my lips. I also really love a gloss, so I love adding a little bit of this color to my lips and then either using one of our lip and cheeks that's more glossy or just putting my own lip gloss over. I'm going to take one of my other lip and cheek colors that comes out. It looks like this, but it actually goes on nice and glossy. I'm going to add that in just to kind of like bolden that color up a little bit. Okay, so you have got to set your cream makeup. So you have two options. You can take this Stay Spray like I used to prime my makeup. I can spray it directly onto the Perfector sponge and dab that in. Totally a great option since if you're already going to be buying this. And it does give you that little extra bit of glow and stay power. So if you're somebody who has like oily skin, I would highly recommend this step. You can also set your makeup with our setting powder. It's just a universal color. You're right, I'm going to take the puffy side of this. I'm going to get it all up in there. And you don't want to just like flop this over your face. You really want to marry it. So I'm just going to press it in everywhere. You really want to marry it with the makeup. But it is going to give you staying power for the entire day. Now, if I'm doing my makeup first thing in the morning and I either have, let's say you're going to work and you have a presentation you have to give in the afternoon, or I'm going to be going on like a coffee date with a girlfriend or something in the evening where I need my makeup to have extra staying power, I would do both. I would do the setting powder and then go in with the setting spray and do that as well. Okay, so now everything is set. The last thing I have to do is my eyes and my mascara. I almost forgot my eyebrows, you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna use our Hotline brush. It has a spoolie on one side. It has a great little, it's like the perfect applicator for eyebrows. Again, this is an optional step if you're somebody who likes to fill in your eyebrows. When I have no makeup on, I feel like my eyebrows look fantastic. But then when I put makeup on, I feel like it tends to kind of wash them out a little bit. So I like to go in and just lightly touch them up. I'm using my exact same contour color, so you don't have to buy any extra color for this. And I'm just going to be dabbing in my color ever so lightly. And because of the shape of the brush, I am just going to, I went a little dark there, but that's okay, because this is forgiving. I am just going to add some color, and I'm basically filling in and darkening them up just a titch. Now, I have girlfriends with red hair, blonde hair, dark hair like me, all different types of skin colors and tones, and every single time your contour color will work very well for this. So then I just take the spoolie and I'm just going to press that makeup in so that there's no sharp lines. Do you guys see? Just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of color in there goes a really long way. So I'm just gonna line under. Then I'm gonna reline the top. Oh, that was a little much, but that's okay, because I will spoolie out any excess. If you need it, if you're somebody who has barely any eyebrows and you really, really, really need some like defined lines, this is so sharp, that's not gonna focus, that you very easily could go like this and get some hairline, like hair strokes going if you need to. Okay, and then there's a little bit of powder left on that brush. I'm just gonna go in to make sure that I set those. Okay, lastly, I'm gonna go in, again, if you're somebody who doesn't like to do eyeshadow, this is an optional step. If you do like eyeshadow, I recommend getting a quad color. Again, I've either recommended the colors based on your eye color that I think would look great, or I will recommend the colors that you should grab based on your eye color when I get your selfie. So I'm gonna take our eyeshadow everything brush. If you guys haven't noticed, I don't even know if I mentioned this, all of our brushes are double-ended, so it's like bang for your buck. You always get two brushes when you buy one. So there's a really, really soft, powdery side and then like a little denser side. So I'm gonna take, for my specific eye colors, I'm gonna take my colors And again, I'm not gonna go into detail on coloring because I'm gonna give you your specific colors, but I'm going in and the eyeshadows are extremely, extremely pigmented. You do not need it much. Again, will last you forever. So I'm just gonna like literally, boop, one time in, blot off any excess. I'm gonna take a little bit on the base of my eye and go up into the crease just to kind of get some full coverage. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other. I don't like a really severe eye look, especially for like an everyday. If I wasn't gonna like be running errands or doing something, I probably wouldn't even do an eyeshadow look. I would probably just use my highlights to cover up that red pigmentation and call it a day. Then I'm going to take it's like in the same tone, I don't know if you guys can tell it, but it's a little bit of more of a shimmery color. And I'm going to go into my crevice here, my crease, and I'm just going to add a little bit more color in my crease and on the outsides there. This just kind of defines your eye right here. Ta-da! Then I'm gonna take just a really easy all over color. I'm using the same exact brush for all of this, you guys. Just to kind of blend all that in, add some color down here, blend all this in. Now you could be done, or I like to take just a tiny bit of a shimmer and I'm gonna add a little bit of that just to the inside. And then I'm gonna blend that in, blend, blend, blend. Is that fun? Just a tiny, tiny bit. Add a little bit on. The reason why I apply it with my finger and then blend it with the brush is I find if I put it directly on the brush, it's hard to blend it out to make it not so extra. Okay, so my eyes are done. My makeup is set. The last thing I need is my favorite mascara. Ironically enough, the company Maskcara doesn't sell mascara. I don't know why I find that so funny. This is just one of my favorites from another brand that I love. I'm happy to give you guys recommendations, or you just take your absolute favorite mascara. I like to do just a couple of thin coats. I don't like to go too crazy. If you use a lash primer, you can use a lash primer before you do this. They make my eyes itch. I've tried like 5 million different lash primers and they all make my eyes itch, unfortunately. The trick with mascara is, like everything else, to do really light coats so that you're not like gobbing it on there. And you're gonna drag your brush towards your nose. Oh, I just dropped some. I'm also doing this in my phone in front of my window so you guys get the best lighting and not into a mirror or at all. Oh Lord. So this is really hard, especially to do the mascara portion without a mirror. And I make real fun faces when I'm doing mascara. And I'm gonna do 2 light coats. I'm dragging everything from my root up and towards my nose. From my roots up and towards my nose. It's weird watching somebody put on mascara. Okay, done. And that is it, you guys. Gosh, this video is long because, as you can tell, I like to talk and I'm very chatty and I want to give as much information as possible. This is a video that you guys can come back and reference to once you get your makeup in the mail, because like most people, this makeup is different than anything else you've ever used before. And so people sometimes like are really excited, they order their stuff and then they get it and they're like, wait, shoot, how do I put this on again? Because it is different. So this is one of those things where I want to be very, very detailed. So depending on what products you grabbed, or if you get the whole system, you guys can come back and reference this and it will give you really great detail on exactly how to apply it, how not to apply it, some tips and tricks. I hope that helped. Welcome. I'm so happy you guys are here. And there you go. I'll give you a little. Oh my gosh, you guys, one last thing. I should have mentioned this before. Can you guys tell that I'm frazzle-brained? The other side of this eyeshadow everything brush, this dent side, is what you can use to basically apply your eyeshadow like an eyeliner. I just, for a more kind of subtle look like this, wouldn't, but you would just basically, this is like so after the fact, I'm sorry. I would just dip in that main color, that main dark color, And I would just drag it under my eyes like so. And you can do this for any color that you're using. I'm using kind of like these deep light burgundies, but if you would prefer a brown or a black, anyway, and then it just adds a little bit of like an eyeliner to your look. Okay, I swear that's everything.